the Dirty Sports Podcast. I said, welcome to the Dirty Sports Podcast with Andy Ruther and Joe Prano. Welcome to the Dirty Sports Podcast.
Welcome to the Dirty Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Andy Ruther, coming to you live from Cincinnati, Ohio, with my co-host from Los Angeles, California, Joey No Chill Prano.
Hello, Andy.
You surviving the
Hurricane quake. Yeah, basically. I mean, you've been in LA, probably not when there's been storms quite like this, but it wasn't even that bad. This is just a city not prepared for rain.
Really? So it wasn't that bad?
Well, yeah, no, not that bad at all in terms of like I bet you've had worse thunderstorms this spring or summer in Cincinnati than they had here. Like,
that's
not even joking. But like this whole city is not prepared. Like, it floods, like the sewers get so built up because there's never rain, so it's not like being flushed with regularity. Then everything like overflows. Trees are like, on the East Coast, or where in Cincinnati, you get like windy thunderstorms all the time. The trees kind of like self, prune themselves.
Yeah.
Like here, you get fucking wind for the first time in like 8 months, and just like every branch comes down. And you're like, what the fuck is happening? But it's like, it was nothing. I mean, I came home from the airport yesterday, barely any wind. Like, Florida would laugh at the idea of it. Now, there was a earthquake in the middle of the day. I wasn't back for that yet, but heard it shook the area fairly decently.
I saw some pretty nice waves though.
You know what? It's funny. That's how I knew it wasn't going to be that big, because I was monitoring the wave models on like Surfline and stuff like that for the days coming. And they were just like, they were calling for like a little bit, but like on the East Coast, when they get a hurricane, you'll see wave report like, oh, okay, it's going to be 12 to 15 feet. It's going to be 18 to 20 feet. Like, I think the biggest size I saw on the buoy system was like 4 feet. Like, that's nothing. And I mean, there was a couple of waves that came through for sure. I'm sure they're going to be big. They're going to be bigger and whatever. But that's how I knew it wasn't going to be crazy, because they weren't calling for 20-foot waves. Everybody's like, it's going to be. I was like, these buoys are already in the water somewhere. Like, they're already tracking it.
Good little palate cleanse for Mildred Avenue.
Yeah.
Right? Clean out some of the homeless, get some of the syringes flowing down the street.
Absolutely. I can send you video. I'm sure you know where the I know you probably know where that storm drain is at the north end of Venice. Like, where Navy is. There's that like big storm drain that would go out.
Yeah.
I'll send you video of it just like overflowing with shit and garbage and rats.
Send that to me. I saw a good video of the LA River. So I used to run when I was like big into the marathon stuff. And I used to run down, right, like Marina Del Rey. I don't know if you know, it's like a big concrete. Do you know what I'm talking about? So it turns. So if you go up like Playa,
yeah,
the path then turns.
Oh yeah, like the bike path.
Yeah. And so like it goes along the LA River, you know, and I saw some lunatic runners like, oh, I used to run there. And like, it was like overflowing, and they kept running. Of course they did, in their little runner shorts. But I was like, damn, like it can't even handle, like you said, like a storm. It couldn't handle kind of a basic storm.
Yeah.
The LA River. It was just overflowing.
It's just not a city that's not prepared to be wet at all. But it was very mild by somebody's, the standards of somebody who's like been around an East Coast hurricane. Like, it was nothing.
It is crazy to think that there hasn't been a tropical storm I think I saw in like 80, 84, 88 years or something.
Yeah. Because the water doesn't usually get warm enough.
No. Yeah, it's nuts, man.
The East Coast could have a wild hurricane season too. I mean, we're talking about, they're saying like the water's 100 degrees in Florida this year and shit like that. Like September, end of August, September, October could be wild on the East Coast too.
Damn. I couldn't do it like every year.
Yeah.
You're gearing up for that every year when you live in Florida.
Now, hopefully it'll be long over by December when we head to New Orleans.
I was just about to talk about that.
And we can drink some hurricanes instead of live through one.
Yeah. Tickets available right now if you go to comedy.house/tickets.
And as I said on last episode, they've got it sorted out. It's now broken into 2 different ticket links. There's a link for the 1000th Dirty Sports episode. And if you scroll down to the bottom of that, you can do a $30, basically 2 for 1.5 bundle price. You can get tickets to a stand-up show of your choice and the thousandth. It's like the one thing that I go full Ruther on. The 1000th episode of the Dirty Sports podcast. Or if you're just like the weirdest person of all time and you're just listening to the Dirty Sports podcast, but you don't want to see us live, but you will be in New Orleans and want to see me do the live stand-up, there's a link for just my shows. But basically, I'm hoping that some fans of stand-up in general and some fans of my stand-up comedy career will be clicking on that link. But I'm hopeful that each and every person that's hearing this on our show that's thinking about making the trip to New Orleans, Louisiana, will be clicking on the podcast episode link and then clicking the bundle and coming to see a stand-up show. There was some negotiations before we started this podcast today, kind of put Ruther feet to the fire. And I said, are you hosting these shows or not? Because there's a lot of comedians are like sharks. And when there's spots or blood in the water, there's sharks circling, Randy Ruther was like, hey, if Ruther's not hosting, I'm in. And I was like, I'm gonna try to get the original Andy Ruther to host today, to agree to host before Randy Ruther slides in.
I'll host.
Let's go.
Yeah, it's been too long. So about 3.5 years, but like you said, it's hosting. It's not 15 new minutes of material.
Now, do you think at some point, so I was just on the road, obviously in Colorado, shout out to all the dirtballs that came in Denver, shout out to the dirtballs that came in Boulder, shout out to the dirtballs that came in Steamboat Springs. And I'm going to say something that I've said on this podcast before. I'll say it again. If you're a dirtball and you come to a show, say hello. The DM after, like, so great seeing you, bro. Like, we're the dirtball fam. We're the fam. Say hello. It's always weird to get. I just got a DM from a dirtball that came in Steamboat. He was like, great show, blah blah. And I was like, which one were you? I like talked to the whole crowd. Did I talk to you and you didn't tell me you're a dirtball? And then also shout out to there was one dirtball that came in Steamboat, Jackson, and he was like, this is one of the funniest things of all time. He goes, I called the bar beforehand and asked them if they served Miller Lite, and they said no. So I brought you this, and he gave me a tall boy Miller Lite.
Respect, bro. Respect.
Yeah. Just pulled it out of his pocket. He's like, it's cool. He's like, I had it in a cooler in the car. So, drink it now before it gets warm. I'm like, yeah, you got it. But what I was saying was, I was on the road with Pete Sestaro, and he has been doing shows to prep for when he does shows for me. Do you think you'll prepare it all, or will this be like fresh out the gate?
It's like the Jordan return game against the Pacers.
Yeah.
We'll see. I'm sure I'll write some things.
Yeah.
We'll see. I mean, that'd be pretty ballsy just to come out and be like,
go cold.
Haven't been on stage in 3.5 years. Let's let it rip.
I love it. I mean, it's going to be great no matter what. Essentially,
Or if I eat shit, that's fun to watch too, guys.
Exactly.
Like if you watch me just bomb, that'll be epic.
Basically, whenever you feel like it's going off the rails, you just pull the ripcord and be like, "You're next, comedian."
But you know what? I also feel. I don't feel. I was actually thinking about this today. I don't feel pressure if I ate shit, and there's a good chance that could happen, whether it's there or somewhere else. I wouldn't feel. I don't think I'd feel like maybe in the past how I used to. I just feel like I've been through so much in the last few years since I performed, right? In the last 3.5 years, and I'm just like, yeah. So I made jokes no one laughed at. They just stared at me.
But also, I think you are certainly coming from a fertile ground to go. I mean, I can see you right now. So just had a baby. Anybody else here have a baby? Any babies in the house? Like we got dad jokes galore.
Oh yeah. Oh, you don't even know. Yeah, lots of dad jokes, lots of deal with the craziness of kids. I kind of try to do bits in front of the daycare.
You guys ever feed your 6-month-old Taco Bell? Talk about diarrhea. Poor little baby bodies aren't prepared to handle a Crunchwrap Supreme.
I was trying to do a bit today. When I dropped her off, there was like 8 kids at daycare, and they're all just looking at me, and I was like, this is basically a stage.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That's a prep audience. Babies.
You know what goes good with Yoo-hoo? A little rum. Rumpelstiltskin. Rumpelstiltskin's a good man. So are you guys.
You know what Isla likes? I've learned she loves when I do rap stuff.
Hell yeah.
I remake it. And it's so corny and it's so dad, but she smiles every time I say, "Hey, Isla, baby, I got your bottle, don't you?" Like I've taken an Old Dirty Bastard song, and she loves it. She also loves when I just do the Little John. Okay, she loves it.
Well, hip hop head.
Yeah, man,
like that.
We'll see. I mean, you gotta start them young, right?
I mean, listen, guys, if you needed another reason to buy tickets, it's just like, who knows how Ruther will do. It's great. We got the game. We got New Orleans, Louisiana. We got the podcast.
Who's gonna eat more shit, me or Jameis Winston?
I mean, you're gonna get up there one way or the other.
True.
It'd be I'm glad you've agreed to do it. It'd be weird if you were just like Jameis one of wanting, just like in the background while we do a stand-up show, holding your shoulder pads, just like watching. And then Ruther one of one was like, Randy Ruther's up there bombing, but if the only reason he's on the show is because the club knows that Andy Ruther would be 60% better. Fucking, you're like, okay, whatever.
He blocked a dirt ball. This is actually really funny. It's made me laugh. I think this is Dirtball Preston. I have to just read this real quick. Somebody tweeted, "I will never not believe Jameis Winston is one of the 32 best QBs in the NFL." It's a screenshot of the New Orleans Chargers preseason game. And then I don't know if this is related to that. Jameis 101 responded, "I've never ripped Cousins like that. I've actually defended him many times as he's quite underrated." Another shitty take by Jameis 101. Though, you'll love this, though he's nowhere near the talent Jameis Winston is, of course, and that's not a secret. If you want to appear to be an ignoramus, you did a great job. So Jameis is now saying he's better than Kirk Cousins, which isn't true. But
I love when he uses words too, like he's not the talent. Like, what does that mean? Like he came out of college, like he was like a, like it's not necessarily wrong. Like Jameis is like a more talented guy, but it's also just like talent doesn't get it done in the NFL. Like you need to know how to read defenses. You need to know how to fucking
not throw it to the other team.
And not throw it to the other team. You need to know, like, you have to have an internal play clock. You got to be able to fucking get up off the ground when you get hit. Like, no one's saying, like, listen, Jamarcus Russell is more talented than fucking both of them. I mean, like, you watch Jamarcus Russell, like, I've never seen a guy throw the ball that hard, including till today. And he's just incompetent. That's why I call him Jamarcus Winston.
So the Dirtball responded, this is great. Dirtball Preston responds, dude, your cards are never going to be valuable. Just accept it. He sucks. He's always sucked. But I know you know that. Keep up the facade, buddy. This is the best part. Jameis 1-on-1 instantly slid into his DMs. What's funny about Jameis 1-on-1 is he shows his hand and he writes this. Cards, question mark? Are you drunk, question mark? What do cards have to do with anything? And it's that Brian Regan gif where he's like,
yeah.
Which it's like Jameis is so stupid. Jameis 1-on-1, or should I call him by his real name? What's his real name again?
I forget.
Ethan. Oh, Ethan. So Ethan's responding. It's like, dude, you're just tipping your hand. If this was a crazy made up thing, you just would ignore it. Cards? What are you talking about? Cards? Are you drunk? So we have that to look forward to this football season.
God, you know how happy I'd be if it was Giants versus Jameis? I already watched them beat Jameis in New Orleans once before.
I wonder who we had the debate, Jameis or Baker, who's out of the league quicker? That's still a good discussion.
Yeah.
I think Baker's going to be the starter, though, for Tampa.
Wow.
Which is a fucking mess. I think. Maybe I'm wrong. I thought that was the last update I
mean,
saw.
It looks like that it's got potential. But, I mean, the thing is like that was what we were talking about with Jameis before, remember? Because it was like you could just ride the bench as a backup. He's the new Mike Glennon.
Yeah, no, you're right. I'd argue if we did underrated, overrated, the stable backup quarterback is one of the most underrated positions
in terms of like the jobs you would love to have.
Yeah,
yeah, no doubt about it. The guy who doesn't get to play at all is way better than the guy who has to play. And then it seems like, well, that's not the guy we want as our backup. But the guy who never has to go in the game.
Oh, it's the best.
The Hoyers, the fucking what's the dude from Mizzou?
Blaine Gabbert?
No, yeah, but he's up there too. Who's the dude from Mizzou who backed up, who's in Kansas City and who was in New Orleans? Oh God.
Well, Gabbert went to
Chase
Mizzou.
Daniels.
Oh, Chase Daniels. Yeah. Was he Mizzou too?
I think so. Wasn't he?
Was he Kansas?
I don't know.
He could have been one of them. That's a nice little gig, man. Especially if you're getting like $3 million or up. You just do that for 10 years, man. And your brain's intact. Right? Like I
didn't realize your boy, the Red Rocket, was on Carolina until the Jets
Hard Knocks
episode. The Jets Panthers Hard Knocks.
Dude, yeah, I mean, the Andy Dalton. And on top of that, Andy Dalton got a big contract with the Bengals.
Yeah.
So he's getting that backup money. And
Jameis 1-on-1 is basically the guy who he's the same person whoever was working at ESPN who like made the Andy Dalton Peyton Manning graphic. Remember that graphic? through 5 years in the league.
Oh, that was a great graphic.
Like just the zero context, 20 years apart, totally different leagues. One guy joining a fucking, borderline playoff team. The other guy joining the worst franchise in football at the time. One guy having to throw his team into like some sort of contention. The other guy just being like, hey.
Guess who made that graphic? I already have it pulled up. You're gonna die when you see this. No, fucking Sunday Night Football.
Yeah. NFL quarterback comparison, first 3 years. It's amazing. I love they go with wins to start.
First 3 years of their career, Andy Dalton versus Peyton Manning. They both have 48 starts. Dalton beats him in wins. Passes, they're very similar. Dalton has 5 less touchdown passes, less interceptions.
A higher quarterback rating.
And they both had never won a postseason game.
So funny. So fucking funny. Andy Dalton joins a team. It's a playoff team in its first year because he was drafted in the fucking second round. Peyton
Correct.
Manning makes the playoffs 2 of his first 3 years after being the number 1 overall pick.
And this was posted August.
No. They did not do completion percentage. They did not do,
August
yards per
24th,
attempt.
2014.
Yeah.
And since then, I could be wrong on this. I know he's never started and won a playoff game. I don't think Andy Dalton has any playoff wins.
Right.
Like any. That was 9 years ago.
I can't believe that that Andy Dalton's Hall of Fame career did not keep going. Dalton 1 of 1.
Yeah, that really is the same thing.
Of course, it's the same thing. Judging players in their first couple years out of the gate across completely different eras, not having no context of what team they were drafted on.
Yeah, I know it's nuts, man, but people do that all the time.
It's the Jameis Winston wrote a whole book. Jameis wrote a whole book about it.
I mean, I saw somebody on McAfee's show doing the Kirk Cousins versus Joe Burrow playoffs. I guess their numbers are pretty similar, but I'm like, guys, like, sure their number, and then the argument is that Cousins has always had a terrible defense. There is a thing about getting your. I know you used to knock Brady for this, but I do believe there's a thing about, and Barry McCockiner does it too. I do believe there is a thing about a leader getting the whole team to play better. Like, I think that's real.
Well, listen, there's a lot of like, forget leadership. I don't think Tom Brady was inspiring the defense to play better. But what I would say though is that can manifest itself in a lot of different ways. When you're a defense and you trust that the offense, like, you look at what's going on in the Jets Hard Knocks and the way, like, Salah, like, fucking threw the offensive line under the bus and whatever. It's like, there was never a time where Tom Brady's defense was like, wow, they have fucking Brady in the offense can't fucking stay on the field. What the fuck is happening? Like, you having trust. You having, like, sustained drives. Like, people talk about, we talk about the Jameis 1 of 1 thing. How about, like, the 30 interceptions? It's like, dude, you're just putting the defense on the field the whole time.
Yeah.
The whole fucking time. The amount of Kirk Cousins, like, I can guarantee you at some point in his career, Kirk Cousins' defense have been like, come the fuck on, bro.
Sure.
Not to mention, obviously, when you factor in the contract situations, probably more so than anything, affect your team chemistry. Guys don't like it. Look at the Legion of Boom. Guys don't like it when they look across to the offense and some guys getting paid more than fucking 2 or 3 of you guys combined, and you feel like you're doing the fucking heavy lifting, and this guy's just getting all the fucking glory.
Yeah. No,
I don't think anybody on the Patriots ever felt like, we're not, I feel like we're paying Tom Brady too much.
Well, yeah, and that's kind of my point as far as inspiring is, if your defense, that's all I'm saying. If your defense trusts your offense enough, that's a real thing for how you play. Or
just trust your quarterback to the point where it's like, no one on this defense knows more or what's better or whatever for this team. Like, honestly, I would say that that's kind of what went wrong at the end of the Eli Manning era in New York. Is post Tom Coughlin, a bunch of people came in and were like, "Mom, offense and Eli and blah blah blah. Maybe we should be starting fucking Geno Smith." Like, the reason that the Giants won 2 Super Bowls when Tom Coughlin was there Everybody trusted Tom Coughlin. Everybody trusted Eli Manning to the point where, like, the guys who didn't, the Tiki Barbers and whatever, get the fuck out, bro. But then all of a sudden, you got Ben McAdoo who's like, no, maybe the offense is the problem. And it's like, yeah. So now we went through the fucking coaching carousel because no one knew that they had a fucking Hall of Famer running the offense. Which, by the way, speaking of, if anybody knows a custom jersey company, trying to get me a Eli Manning high school jersey for our live podcast and shows. I want a Isidore Newman 14 Eli Manning jersey.
Wow, you're in luck. Justin knows a Chinese woman.
Yeah, I know, but the thing is, they have Peyton Manning ones out there, and they have Archie Manning ones out there, but they don't have Eli. I need a number 14 Isidore Newman high school jersey.
That's where he went to high school. You know his high school.
Yeah, because Peyton went there, Archie went there, Odell went there. It's very famous New Orleans private. We're missing it by a year. The last time I was there, I tried to go see Archie play, but it was Friday night lights and a Friday night show.
I should play the call I couldn't get to last episode.
Yeah, let's do it. It was a Hard Knocks call, right?
Yeah, it was about Robert Saleh.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Greg from Salt Lake City. Just watched the new Hard Knocks episode, and it's pretty good. I mean, I'm enjoying it so far. But Robert Saleh is doing some, like, fucking, oh my God, he's doing some fucking J.J. Watt, like, theatrics bullshit right now. Like, you can tell he's just going over the top, and it's, like, I didn't care for it much the first episode, but now it's, like, starting to fucking piss me off. And he, like, said fuck, like, 8 times in a 45-second span. And it's honestly pretty annoying, but I guess I was wondering, why do you guys think, like, people on the show, like coaches or players, feel the need to just act like completely different people? Like, I know you might see it just for attention reasons, and that might be it, but, like, I don't know. Is there anything else, or is it just for attention, or do they just only care about themselves? I don't know. Pretty dumb question, but just had our fantasy draft, and I'm a little drunk right now. But, yeah, condoms are for the Hawkeyes.
So, like, I know the rant he's talking about. He drops a lot of F-bombs, but I disagree with this call. I don't think that – I don't know if you remember, Mike McCarthy dropped a bunch of F-bombs, and we used to laugh about it because it sounded just so out of place. Yeah. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah.
I don't – with Robert Saleh, I don't think it's out of place. Like –
no, I don't think it's out of place either. I think that's just the way he talks. I mean, you see, there is a guy on the Jets staff, the guy who wears the backwards hat and the fucking beard, where he feels like he's forcing it a little bit. I just think these younger coaches, that's just kind of how they talk. I don't know. I like Saleh for what I see on Hard Knocks.
I agree. I like Saleh before Hard Knocks.
Yeah. I mean, I get it. There are moments that are kind of like cringy a little bit with all these guys. I think that a part of that too, when you look at the McCarthys and when you look at the, like, who was the guy from who was Tevas? Mike Smith?
Yeah.
Like, you look at those guys, it's just like the nonstop cringy. But I think sometimes these guys come off as cringy because they know they're on camera. They're not used to, like, doing this for the cameras.
I'm
remarkably, Aaron Rodgers doesn't come off as cringy at all.
Yeah, and the Rodgers has been great. I'm laughing, and now I'm thinking about Jeff Fisher. Remember him?
Yeah.
Like cutting people in board shorts.
Yeah.
There's a surfboard in the background.
Yeah.
Hey, man.
Like a Corona promotional surfboard.
He's like, I don't think you're going to make the team this year, man. Sorry. But I'm about to go hit the waves, so I need you out of my office. No, I think Saleh's great. Here's the thing. A lot of these guys, they get hired because they were known for one side of the ball, and they can't transform it. he was the defensive coordinator on the Niners. Players loved him, known for a badass defense. Goes to the Jets, does the exact same thing. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like a lot of these guys can't replicate what they are as coordinators on their new team. And he has. And look, you watched 2 episodes. That's why I was like, I'm feeling the Jets a little more. Because come playoff time, if they're there, you still have a Hall of Fame quarterback.
Yeah.
I get it. They're still the Jets. But that's kind of my thing personally. I don't know. It's been a good episode. Or I'm sorry, a good season.
Yeah. Listen, the Jets, like I think the Jets are without a doubt at least the second best team in that division behind the Bills. Like, I think they're better than the Patriots. I think they're better than the Dolphins.
No, and I don't put too much into this stuff, but it's funny you said. I saw the ESPN power rankings, and I just don't get it, man. Dude, they have the Bills 5, the Dolphins 6. They have the Jets all the way down at 13. And I'm just like, I don't know, man. Like, whoever's writing that for ESPN is saying we don't have much faith in the Jets. 13. The Dolphins at 6. Like, when it comes down to it, you look at the coach and you look at the quarterback, right? Like, you start there.
The big 3: coach, quarterback, defense, in some order, right?
Correct. I'd argue the Jets have the edge on all 3. Now, I'd say McDonald and Sal are pretty close. They just both started. McDaniels. What do I call him?
McDonald.
Maybe because I think he's a clown at times. Ronald McDonald, motherfucker. I don't know. Well, I mean, we'll see. That's going to be a fun division to watch. I think a lot of these divisions are going to be more fun than people are like. I think the AFC North is going to be fun. I know the AFC West should be fun. I think there's a lot of these divisions in the AFC that are going to be a lot of fun to watch. Now, we have a fair amount of calls regarding the NFL. I might as well just get to some of these. 310-359-8365. That's our hotline. We have a call from a Broncos fan, speaking of the AFC West.
Hey, what's going on, Dirty Sports? This is a question for Prano. Prano, I, unfortunately, am a Denver Broncos fan. I've been a Denver Broncos fan my whole life, even though I've lived in Michigan my whole life as well. I don't know how it happened, but I've been a Denver Broncos fan since the time I could remember. I stuck with them through their Jake Plummer years, through their Jay Cutler years, through their Tebow year or two, and even was able to see them win a Super Bowl with Peyton Manning, and am unfortunately still a Denver Broncos fan today. And the reason I'm calling is because I'm not really sure what to do with this hate in my heart that I experience every single time I even hear the name Russell Wilson. I was in a lids store a couple of days ago, and there was a bunch of jerseys up on the wall that you could purchase, and I saw a Denver Broncos Russell Wilson jersey, and just the tightening that I felt in my chest and the slow burn of hatred that I felt in my heart, I'm not sure what to do at this point. So I figured I'd talk to somebody who has went through a similar experience, particularly with Carmelo Anthony and the New York Knicks. Is there like a 10-step process that I can do? Is there a support group or a therapy class that I could take? I'm not sure what to do to deal with this. So any sort of insight that you could give me would be most helpful. Thank you very much, and have a good day, guys.
I wish I had great advice, but the truth is, in this situation, as you mentioned, I've experienced with Carmelo Anthony. A lot of people will be like, it's a win-win when no, this is a lose-lose situation. Either you guys lose, your team loses all the time and you fucking stink, Or sometimes they overachieve and they win, but they really lose because then it just extends the whole thing out further. Great example of that is the 52 win, Knicks season where everybody's like, Carmelo should get MVP votes and blah, blah, blah. And they're the 2 seed in the East. And then, they obviously go ahead and they lose to the Pacers because they're not good. Like, truly the best thing, and it sucks as a fan of a team because it's hard to root against your team. It was hard for me to root against the Knicks when Carmelo was on the team because, like, you want the Knicks to play well. But the truth is, when Carmelo came in, I was like, okay, like, maybe I'm wrong about Carmelo, but it's hard to say that right now if you're a Russell Wilson fan. But then obviously as Carmelo, underachieved, was highly overrated, ran a coach out of town that I thought was, had turned around the franchise, all those things, it became so much easier to the point where it was just like, I'm rooting against my own team. And I think that it's difficult to root against your own team, but in the long run, it will pay off in 2 different forms. One, you'll never have to be a fucking cheddar dick fan that throws your support behind a guy that you don't like and you don't believe in. So you'll always have that, as opposed to like the other fans. Like, so many fans do that. So many fans are just die-hard fans, and they're like, I mean, you can even see it in the Dirty Sports comments that we put up under Mel. Like, I was just like, what did you guys love about the Carmelo Anthony era? There are people who still defend him, and you're like, what did you like? Did you like those 17-win season? Did you like the losing to the Pacers? Did you like the coach of the year getting fucking run out of town? Did you like the end of insanity? Did you like being a fucking, lottery team? Like, what did you like? Did you like 62 points against the fucking Bobcats in a random January game? Like, what did you like? And I think that's the thing is, like, it sucks. But in the long run, the Broncos are probably better off, truly, in the long run. They're probably better off if they fucking stink this year and they move on from Russell Wilson, and you get better faster that way.
So look, obviously we all know my opinion, but again, it was 1 year last year, guys. Like we have to let this Russ thing play out. Obviously, he has an offensive-minded coach now. So if it doesn't work this year, then you got to.
But now, what does work this year look like?
If he goes back to some semblance of himself as far as accuracy, touchdowns, all those things from his Seahawks
has to have more
days.
Touchdowns than he has bathrooms in his house. Is that where we're going? Is that the bar?
Yes. Great tweets, by the way. So it's like, that's all I'm saying. And to him, to our caller, if they win, you're not going to care, man. Like, you won't. If the Broncos win 11.
But let me ask you a question, because this is the ultimate, from a football fan base. You're in a division with the Chiefs. You're in a division with the Chargers. They have better quarterbacks than you, no doubt about it.
Sure.
If the Broncos are a borderline playoff team, they just miss it, or they just get in and they lose in the first round, are you like, okay, year one Sean Payton turned around Russell Wilson? Or are you like, man, this is our peak and this isn't, like, who cares?
Here's my thing with Russ. We don't have much to compare it to. That's why I think it makes it difficult for my guy who loves talking quarterbacks. Like, I don't know who to compare this to in history. Somebody who has 10 years, goes to 2 Super Bowls, wins 1 on his defense, has a great statistical 10 years. Year 11 literally falls off like he forgot how to throw. I mean, he was absolutely terrible last year. I don't know who to compare that to. That's why I'm like, I don't know what to make in a weird way of him now, and also his whole career, because last year was just absolutely terrible. So I don't know. I mean, I think we both agreed if they win a playoff game, then that's a successful year for them.
For sure. In a division where you're the third team out of the gate. Like if you finish second and you get in the playoffs and you win a playoff game and Russ puts up numbers that he used to put up, sure. Okay, we're building something. You still have a pretty short window, right? Like how long is the window in the Russell Wilson thing at anyway? He's not playing at a high level last year, let alone like we're not talking about 5 more years, right?
No, I wouldn't think so. Like that's a storyline that I'm really curious to see play out. You know, we talk about all these divisions.
If they sneak in the playoffs, let's say they finish third. Let's say the AFC West gets 3 teams in. They finish third. They sneak in the playoffs. They're the last team in. They get fucking slaughtered by the 2 seed. Are you like, burn this fucking thing to the ground?
I don't know. I mean, you know, like I said, you would have to ask. You say they get slaughtered. It depends on how that game goes. Does their defense give up a shit ton of points? Is their offense inept? You know, how is that game playing out? In a weird way, so I don't. Let me rephrase this. I don't know if there's more or less pressure on Russell Wilson this year.
More, way more.
You think way more?
Yeah, because
I think he was so bad last year. It's like people have already written him off.
Yeah, but now this is the pressure is like, is this the end of your career? We got you the offensive coach to revive Russell Wilson. Blah 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 blah. If it doesn't work with Sean Payton, he could be
out of the NFL,
moving again. You know, going to some other team. He could be whatever. Like I said last year. And everybody, I put it in the comments. I was arguing with the fucking Broncos fans on there. I said, if I was the Broncos, I would steal the Seahawks model. You're a team with a good defense. Load up on defense. Run the ball. Do what worked for Russell Wilson when Russell Wilson was winning games. They have gone the opposite way. And I think because they went the opposite way, it's absolutely more pressure because now they're like, small quarterback. He had Drew Brees. Best offenses in the fucking NFL. This is the Save Russell Wilson campaign.
So look, if you look at their first 4 games, I mean, these are winnable games. You have a home game against the Raiders, a home game against Washington, at the Dolphins, and at the Bears, which I think
all should be winnable.
Yeah, I mean, Miami will be tough. Chicago's tough at home. But my point is, like, I think we're gonna know after 4 weeks.
Now, what's their schedule look like after that?
It's a lot tougher after that. At home against the Jets, at Kansas City, home against Green Bay, Kansas City again, Kansas City 2 out of 3 weeks, at Buffalo.
So you can go from like 4-0 to 4-5.
I mean, you could. Or like 2-2 to suddenly, you know, you got 3 wins 9 weeks into the season. My point is, you'll know, you don't always know with teams, you'll know by week 8 or 9.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
With them. Some teams are tougher to figure out. You're going to know. I don't know, man. You know, like I said, this is one of the huge storylines that as a football fan, I'll be watching. Because here's the thing. If he sucks again, I'll be here for the memes because the memes were really funny last year. Like everybody
if he sucks again, I'm making you get an L chain neck tattoo. I mean, you get the L chain with the chain tattooed like on your chest.
But again, we've never seen anything like this. Like, we've never seen a guy have 10 years and then just fall off in my recollection, unless there's somebody I'm missing. You're just like, how this guy sucks so badly. Like, he forgot how to pass a football last year. It was bad.
If
So,
I'm to go back to our caller, just wrap up. If I'm you, dude, I hate to say it, but you root against your team. You root for it to be over quicker. And by the way, I'm also going to take offense to the beginning of your call. You said you made it through the Jake Plummer years. The Jake Plummer years were some of the great years. If the Broncos are known for one thing, it's jumping on quarterbacks that were fucking overrated. Y'all never should have taken Jay Cutler. It should have continued to be the Jake Plummer years. Jay Cutler's the original fucking overrated douche.
did they win a playoff game with Jake Plummer?
I think so. Yeah. I think so.
No, he won one in Arizona. I literally put him Jake Plummer in the first. Literally, the second thing that comes up is Jake Plummer mushrooms.
Jake Plummer mushrooms, Jake Plummer handball.
Yeah, he won one with Denver, one with Arizona. Jake the Snake.
I loved Jake Plummer. I think Jake Plummer was one of the most underrated guys back in the day.
He didn't play that long. Played 10 years.
Yeah.
So we have a call about preseason. I think we had asked the Dirtballs about that, or at least we had discussed like people going to preseason games. You know, because it's like just not my thing. So we have a response to that. NFL preseason games from B Indigo. Classic B Indigo, man. I'm calling about the NFL preseason.
Yeah, so be Indigo, but I was talking about how like whoever goes to preseason games is an idiot or whatever he was talking about, and like he was saying like who has season tickets and goes. I have season tickets to the Bengals. I didn't go, but I do know that people take their kids to the preseason because it's like less, more calm for the kids, you know, shit like that, especially for people that can't afford it, you know, like regular season games. I'm not saying that's the majority, but I know that's why, like, some of the people go. I didn't go because I don't really care, but that's why a lot of the people went. And what was I about to say? Yeah, can y'all always shitting on Ohio? Like, last episode was like the first time y'all ain't shit on Ohio in like 3 weeks, but damn, bro, like, you know, we fans too. Like, what we do? All right.
First of all, I want to clarify. Joe shits on Ohio. I live here.
Yeah.
I'm from here. I don't shit on Ohio. I can make jokes about it, but I don't shit on Ohio. I make jokes about everything.
Also, where you live is not who you are. So it's like you could be a fan of the podcast. I like you. You know. Also, didn't he move to LA for a minute? Like he tried to get out of Ohio, tried to escape its clutches.
I don't think he moved there.
He was just here for a bit.
He came out a couple times. Look, man, now Prano, guys, let's not
Ohio
is a coastal elite. Prano, just in that you are a coastal elite.
Yeah, I have no problem with that. But you know what? you know what the difference between me and most coastal elites are? I've been in the muck. I've seen it. I've seen the majority of this country. I'm an elite. I have a good reason to be a coastal elite. Also, this is going to tackle both of this portions of this call in one thing. Listen, people live in Ohio. The same reason people go to preseason games. It's easier. It's not better. It's just easier. You know, quality of life. Parking is cheaper. You know, it's not, the fans aren't as rowdy.
He makes a
You
good
get
point
in
there.
and you get out.
He does make a good. I never thought about like people who don't want to take their kids to the regular season because NFL fans are obnoxious. But not only that, like you value those games. You're like, oh, I'm not taking my kid to the, Bengals Steelers. I want to be there drunk myself.
Yeah. So I'm okay with that.
Don't worry, B. I see you. Hey, 513 Pride right here. OHIO. Here's my thing on states. I just want to say this because we talk about this a lot. I think people have too much pride in where they're from. I'm talking across the board. I think
listen, I just ripped. I love Colorado, but I ripped Colorado a fucking new asshole while I was there every time I'm on stage. We get it, guys. Your fucking state flag, like, chill the fuck out. Our state flag's sick, though. Maybe. I've never seen another state flag, so I can't compare. Shut up. The amount of people wear Ohio State flags, like, it's, bro, you're just repping your state all day? This is your go-to?
What is the Colorado flag?
It's a fucking C with like a sun, like a yellow sun in the middle. Dude, you've seen it a million times. Literally, you walk down the street, everybody's got a Colorado fucking t-shirt. You're just repping your state. Just state embleming. We get it, guys. You live in Colorado. Relax.
But my point is people do that. People are so prideful on their states. Which like, whatever. Like even, I mean, I live with somebody from Kentucky. Even that is like, I'm always taking digs, but it's like, there's a Kentucky pride with her and her family. And I'm just like, yeah, I don't know if I have the, I'm cool with Ohio. I'm not anti-Ohio. I live here. I was born here, but like this vested pride that people have.
Also, I love it when states, I mean, obviously most states are pretty like kind of self-contained, but it's like, dude, me and a guy from Fresno, we are not the same. Like, we're not the fucking same people. Dude, if you live in Fresno, I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
You like the smell of fucking cow shit? Like, I don't know what the fuck you're doing out there.
I mean, taking some digs at Twerks right now.
Twerks got out, dude. Twerks escaped. Twerks lived in the fucking Palisades. Twerks lives in Camarillo. Twerks, I think, moving to Long Beach. Twerks isn't like, yeah, I'm going to make that Fresno life.
You know who has the most pride where they're from, especially their area code rappers.
Oh, yeah.
In like the 90s and 2000s too. Right? Like, do you remember rap songs? They would just give shout outs to everything.
Yeah.
Just like every area code, every state, every city. You're like, dude, are you representing all these places?
You remember Reggie Bush with the 619 fucking eye blacks?
Yeah. Representing San Diego, man. That's right. Give him his Heisman, by the way.
Sure.
That's an injustice nobody talks about enough. That's an injustice.
Hello, X-World. OJ here. It's not like he murdered anybody.
I mean, it took away Reggie Bush's Heisman. I think Manziel was tweeting about that after his documentary came out. How like they didn't take his away. I mean, just give the guys Heisman back. Although I did see some funny old Wendy's tweets about it. That Wendy's Twitter is, man, that thing is lit, son.
Wendy's tweets about what? The Manziel doc or about the
Reggie Bush
from back in the day?
No, just one from like in the last year. Like it was a funny one. I was scrolling through. It was some funny because he does Wendy's commercials, so he's like a spokesperson. But they were making light of the situation. I just don't understand it. He's the only one who just lost his Heisman. What do you mean he just lost it?
There's billboards up around LA. Give Reggie his Heisman back.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
I wonder who's sponsoring that.
I think Matt Leinart. I think Matt Leinert's like fucking real estate company or some shit.
Are you fucking around or no?
No, I don't know. I don't know. But but he's been on it too. He's been on the campaign. Leinart's hard on the campaign. Leinart's hard on the campaign, harder than he's ever been on anything. I still don't think he's wearing like closed-toed shoes while he does it. But he's like, "Oh, we're gonna get Reggie Simon back, dog."
Dude, how sick were those squads though, man?
Yeah.
I remember in college watching those squads
Dude,
late
all
night.
the guys on all the fucking on both sides of the ball. It's so many fucking pros come out of there.
Dude, you forget too. I was watching something the other day, and you forget like Lendell White. Like, I mean, he was like kind of a flash in the pan in the NFL, but you're like, dude, he was just like the number 2 guy who was a first-round pick, I believe.
There was, you know, what's hilarious is like I know that there was like a young like version of Andy Ruther back then who was just like, it's fucking Leinart who makes it all go, and they're like, maybe it's Pete Carroll and the good defenses and the running back. Like, no, he's going to the Hall of Fame.
No.
And Leinart goes fucking blows out of town. No, I'm not saying you were doing it. I'm saying like there was some guy out there who was like, fucking Leinart's the man. And then he went to the NFL. It wasn't with Pete Carroll and the great defense and the great running back anymore. And he sucked in Arizona. They're like, what the fuck is happening? This is unprecedented.
Yeah, I was like huge Reggie Bush guy. So you think you're calling Russell Wilson Matt Leinart?
No, I'm just saying, you know.
You are.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying.
Leinart played 6 years.
You're like, what? It is what it is. He has a fucking Heisman Trophy.
Yeah, but again, to defend my boy Russ, 10 years, man. 10 years.
Well, if Matt Leinart could have played fucking 10 years at USC, he broken every record in the history of fucking college football.
I think he would have even been a higher pick had he come out earlier.
Oh,
that's what I never understand these guys. Like Matt Barkley would have been a top 5 pick had he came out. He stayed and then he falls.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy to think about that. Right? Like when you decide to go out, what the other quarterback situation is like, all those factors are pretty nuts to think about. So we're going to New Orleans December 16th, 17th, 18th.
Yes.
We've talked about the game, right? The Saints-Giants game. I talked about the rankings. Joe, it just continues against the Superdome. So the Athletic, which I value way more than USA Today for the win. Ironically, the Athletic just released today their NFL stadium rankings from best to worst. Once again, man, the Caesar Superdome gets 26 out of 32.
But now you got to tell me the ones below them.
27th is the Bengals. 28th is the Dolphins. And they recently redid it. 29th, Jags. I'm sorry, there's only 30 stadiums because some of them play. 30th is FedEx Field, the Commanders.
Well, let me just tell you this.
It is interesting though.
Let me just tell you this. Let me just do the base story. I've been to fucking. I mean, I'm a Giants fan. How many times have I been accused on this thing of Giants homer? Oh, you suck, Daniel Jones, dick, Eli Manning, Dable, Saquon, the Superdome is better than MetLife. It's not fucking close.
They have that one ahead of.
It's not fucking close. It's better than Lincoln Financial Field in Philadelphia. It's not fucking close. It is not close. Now, you could talk about, we've been to the Jerry Dome, we've been to SoFi. You could talk about how those are more modern. Whatever. It's not better to watch a game at them.
See, exactly. And that's the thing. This has SoFi number 2, Cowboy Stadium number 4.
And the problem with these rankings is like, so if Lambeau and Soldier Field are above it because they're old, but they have like fucking some soul or whatever.
Yeah.
Then you're obviously taking that into account.
No, I agree for sure.
It feels like people who haven't been. That's what it feels like. I've been to the Jets and the Giants Stadium. I've been to the Cowboys Stadium. I've been to the Eagles Stadium. I've been to where the Chargers and the Rams play. I've been to where Cincinnati plays. I'm trying to think of other stadiums I've been to. I've been to fucking Levi Stadium. It's better than Levi Stadium. It's fucking better.
So we've called about the 1,000th episode since we're talking New Orleans. CT has put out the dirtball bat signal.
Brandon, Ruther, CT from Seattle, lifelong Seattle Kraken fan calling in. Just wanted to give a shout out, number one, to Julio Rodriguez. He's tearing it up right now, best baseball player on the planet. Thank you, Julio, for saving the Mariners season so far. Secondly, this is a call out to Dirtballs. Guys, I bought my flights to New Orleans, 1,000th episode. Let's go. Hit me up. Let's coordinate some activities. Use that Reddit thread Prano talked about in the show. I'm currently looking at some lodging options. So if anyone has any desire to get like a joint kind of thing, let me know. Otherwise, I did find, an Airbnb, reasonable price in downtown, but kind of small. So hit me up. Let's plan some stuff. Dirtballs, come to New Orleans. It's an awesome city. I've been there before. Great food, great drinks, great fun, great podcast. CT out.
Strong call.
Like a dirtball Airbnb.
A dirtball B&B.
You know who texted me who's trying to go too? The Nacho Helmet King.
Oh, yes. Majid. That would be great to have Majid there.
I said, you better eat a giant Saints nacho helmet then.
Yeah.
Probably have some gumbo, some jambalaya.
Yeah, I was going to say, like a jambalaya helmet.
You guys should really come on down. If you can make it happen, come on down. I've seen some dirtball stuff about bringing significant others too.
Yeah.
Bring your significant other.
I might bring my significant other.
So we talked about it. Would we get like an Airbnb, a bigger?
I mean, this talk. Shout out to John Smith who sent us a great spot. Looked pretty good.
That place looked great.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm in the process of figuring out. Like, I'm definitely going to stay an extra couple days on one end or the other. It's like, do I stay early into the next week? Do I start the week early? So I'm figuring that out, but I mean, I absolutely think where there's going to be some sort of dirty sports home base.
Will the Gators be out in December?
Will they be out? I don't know.
What do Gators do in the winter?
I think they do like some sort of hibernation, right? Where they just kind of sleep on the bottom.
I think they might.
But I don't know.
Or they like burrow somewhere.
Yeah. You don't watch Gator Week, just Shark Week?
I used to watch Swamp People. You ever seen that show?
No. I've seen like moments of it, but never a full one.
That was a jam back in the day. You just follow these hillbillies around, because they have to control. There's so many gators down there. And they have to
I've seen one of them like hunting anacondas because the anacondas are like eating the fucking
anacondas. What now?
Yeah,
so pythons are a problem in Florida. Maybe they've moved too now to the Everglades, like in or out to the swamps in Louisiana. The Burmese pythons. Have you seen this? Yeah. It's a major problem because it just destructs the
ecosystem.
The ecosystem and the natural habitat. But yeah, so like the Swamp People thing, you get like 80 tags for the hunting season. I still think alligators are so fucking fascinating.
Yeah, they're fascinating.
Because they've been around so long, right?
Yeah, they're dinosaurs.
And I know I always bring it up, but for some reason it makes me laugh every time like the first like Europeans came here and they got in the water for a swim. He's like, cheerio, I'm going to go for a swim. And then what the fuck? And then this thing just eats him. Because like gators.
Well, it's funny. It's probably like the Spanish coming through down there too.
Yeah, it was a Spanish. Like who was that? Like Cortez and some of the explorers and shit. But gators that's like are there alligators outside of America? There's crocodiles and there's caimans.
Crocodiles. Yeah.
But I think gator is an American thing. Oh, this is where we need Coach Edo. Calm down. Give a little gator pep talk. This is our annual perennial lost his mic. Do we just need a new connection here for you? Do we need?
I stupidly fucking hit I just can't touch this fucking thing.
Okay, this is where YouTube's good. So I'm
Mr. fucking.
They have nests that they hibernated.
Ronnie Kennedy.
Congrats, Ronnie. You're our official gator expert.
Yeah.
So we've gotten a few comments on YouTube about this.
Pull it up.
You asked me before the show had I started watching Winning Time.
Yeah.
And it sounds like they might possibly cancel it.
Yeah. I mean, I what's crazy is I have not got I didn't even hear it was happening again. Like it just all of a sudden was popped into my fucking HBO. I only knew it was back on, I think, because I saw Jeff Pearlman tweeting about it. Former guest of the show, Jeff Pearlman.
Well, he tweeted last week. I'm telling you, the future of Winning Time hangs in the balance. We need viewers. The strikes are crippling. Please spread the word for season 2. HBO is big on numbers.
But what I'm saying is I don't know if it has anything to do with the strike or whatever, but I feel like HBO did a terrible job of letting me know that this shit was.
They didn't promote it at all. I agree. They didn't promote it. I didn't know it was on.
I should have didn't know.
Yeah, my girlfriend told me because she likes it, so we started watching it. So
the fucking dude. First of all, the dude plays Jerry West, scene stealer, and just fucking Adrian Brody is Riley. Gets better and better.
Yeah. So there's only been 2 episodes. I watched the first one. Magic must just hate this show, man.
Yeah.
I wonder if he watches it.
They're Winning Time is just basically if you're Magic Johnson, just hey, welcome back to another episode of Winning Time. Just a reminder, Magic Johnson's an egomaniac who got HIV. It was terrible to women.
I mean, he fucks everybody.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure he did.
We need this to go to we can't let Winning Time get canceled. We need to go to season 6 when he fucks Arsenio Hall. So we can. Sorry, I had to do it.
I think it's gonna be canceled. Nobody knew about it. Dude, it's gonna be canceled, which sucks. Because it's almost weird. You're like, oh, you're just canceling it into this portion of the Lakers season. I didn't know he hurt himself the second year.
Yeah.
I mean,
and they're really up, and I don't know. You said you're 2 episodes in. Episode 3, they really go heavy on the Larry Bird storyline.
Oh, they do.
Yeah.
I think I'm 2 episodes in. I don't know. We started watching the Kanye, Kim K, HBO divorce thing.
Okay.
It's a 2-part. They do one from Kanye's perspective, 1 part from her.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
It is interesting. And it's HBO. So I think they do, they do good documentaries, but it's interesting how people paint his perspective and then how they paint her perspective. And it's also it had me going back in time myself, when they first started dating in 2012, how much bigger he really was than her.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
there's some great YouTube or Instagram and TikTok videos about basically how he single-handedly turned their family from reality TV trash to fashion forward influencers.
Well, that's what it kind of talks about. Like the level, and I believe that personally, like the level that he elevated the entire Kardashian Jenner brand because he was that big and he was already in the fashion world and he already had all the accolades music wise and then the fashion. It is crazy. But then like you start remembering like all the nut shit he did.
Oh yeah.
Like I didn't know they got in a fight. I didn't know about the whole thing in Wyoming where paparazzi had him outside the Wendy's.
Yeah.
You know about this?
Yeah.
Where she's like crying and they just, and I was like, dude, Wendy's must have, I don't remember. I guess I didn't follow. I was like, Wendy's must have loved this. Talk about.
Where was Wendy's Twitter that day?
talk about some good press, but dude, they got great documentaries, man. They really do. I just watched a good, I know you're gonna laugh. I watched a good one on HBO about I think it's called like After First Bite, after a fatal great white shark attack in Martha's Vineyard, and just how it's affected everything and why they think way more great whites are coming down there and based on the seal population. And
I will not be watching that. No, thank you.
But yeah, you won't but it's interesting because they talk to surfers and it's surfers are a big part of it. But just I don't know. I just think they really, I would argue HBO just does documentaries better than anybody. I just don't think Netflix is on their level personally. Yeah. So I don't know. Have you followed? I know we talked about it. Have you followed the Phil Mickelson
gambling story?
Dude, it's nuts. He's denying all. There's no way. There's some shred of truth in all this.
Yeah. I haven't read the article. Like, shout out to my boy Matt Janella and the Fire Pit crew. I think they were the first ones to start breaking clips of it and stuff like that, breaking out of the book. I haven't read any of this stuff other than what I see like on social media, but it's wild. I mean, just the numbers that they're throwing around are crazy.
So, yeah. So I read a in-depth article on it. So basically, a book is coming out with a guy he used to work with named Billy Walters, who served prison time, who he blames Phil Mickelson. Because let's not forget, Phil Mickelson had the insider trading thing happen. And he blames this guy, Billy Walters, blames Phil why he had to serve prison time for that. But anyway, he was a big bettor too and a big gambler. And basically, he partnered with Phil because there was a ceiling on what he could gamble. But when he had access to Phil's money, suddenly that ceiling was raised big time.
Right.
And he's the guy saying, Phil he wanted to bet on the Ryder Cup.
Yeah.
All that money. So I don't know, but it really is nuts. So Phil could bet up to $400,000 a game was what they gave him for his limit. And I don't know. He's basically saying Phil is, and Phil admits he's an addict. But he says that listen to this. This is nuts. Between 2010 to 2014, he alleges that Mickelson wagered $311 million.
That's bananas.
That's just bananas. $311 million. He says that he placed 70 separate bets during a PGA Tour event in 2011. And that on a busy college basketball Saturday in 2012, Phil ran up $4 million in losses in one day betting on college basketball games.
That's crazy. I mean, the bottom line with this is when you're talking about a guy who did jail time, whatever, it's like, can you trust everything this guy says? Probably not. But also, even if it's exaggerating, dude, $400,000 in a day of college basketball betting is a lot.
He said he lost $4 million.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Like, let's imagine he's
I gotcha.
inflating it tenfold.
10 times. Now, Phil's open about his gambling
Yeah.
issues.
It makes me like Phil Mickelson. Though, like, I was already a Phil Mickelson guy. It makes me like him so much more, though.
So he's denying that he wanted to wager $400,000 in the Ryder Cup that he was playing in, which
Right.
is good because they lost. I don't know why he would just make up this Ryder Cup event. That
Right.
seems random to me. You're just going to pull this event. It makes me wonder what Jordan was betting, right? Like we all know Jordan's got a gambling thing.
But also the money back then was like not nearly.
I don't know. The gambling thing is
And
interesting.
of course, you're always gonna have the Jordan, the mythical Jordan things. Like, we're probably 3 minutes away from Jeremy Roenick being like, Michael Jordan and I were having beers at the International Space Station, and he bet $60 million on himself to score 30 points that night. You're like, this just like, it's impossible for any of this to have happened. A lot of people don't know. Michael likes space. He got a shuttle. He took us out there. Dude, you think Michael Jordan's a good golfer with gravity? You should see him in zero gravity. He's like a fucking amazing golfer. And he's just drinking the whole day. And I'm like, bro, how are you going to get back to the game tonight? And he's like, oh, I'll just take an escape pod. And he did. Like, he escape podded out of the International Space Station, went right into a Bulls home game. And I know that you can look this up, but he scored 91 points that day. And you're like, what? Michael Jordan never scored 91 points in his career. We have game logs. Oh, okay, fine. I mean, but I'm telling you, it happened.
You know, that comment you left, people were still debating you. Like as of recently.
Instagram? That's hilarious.
On Instagram, as of just even like a few weeks ago. People were still debating. They weren't just debating the scoring, which you can look up. They were debating the weather. People were like, it could be a warmer December day in Chicago. I'm
just
like,
hitting the golf course. Just the day. It's a warmer weather day. Just happened to be the
so
fucking.
it was 30 degrees.
The global warming day where they stayed out there for 3 rounds of golf in December in Chicago.
I guarantee Phil Mickelson and Michael Jordan have bet on something together.
Yeah.
Right? Like, those paths have for sure crossed. I don't get the gambling. I don't know. I just don't get it personally.
How about did they bet on the Pippen family getting the Jordans another ring?
Is Jordan's son really going to marry Larsa Pippen?
Amazing, right?
Like, is it really happening?
What's going on with these guys? You talk about some weird, wild, like fucking gross, like what, like, why is Michael Jordan even allowed? Why is this even a thing?
I don't know, man. It's so weird. So she's 49. He's 32. So he gave her a promise ring. What are you, fucking in high school? He gave her a promise ring, and they're talking about marriage. Dude, this is just so weird to me.
So weird.
I mean, Scottie Pippen and her have 4 kids, 22 to 14. Do you think Michael has talked to Scottie about any of this? I'm going to say no.
He couldn't have, right? What do you say? Yo, my boys is fucking your wife. Sorry about it, bro. Thanks for always guarding the best player on the other team. My son's fucking your wife.
Also, like, dude, what are you doing, man? You don't marry. Yeah, I mean, I don't care how it sounds. You don't marry a woman 17 years older than you, dude. Come on. Like she looks great.
Maybe you do if you're 18 and she's 35.
Yeah, she looks great. She also has dated like we've like since Scotty. I mean, she's just going through dudes. She's got a little.
We do not slut shame on the show.
Okay, gotcha. I think I can as a former slut myself. I'm gonna join. What's the didn't who's the girl Kanye and Wiz Khalifa? Amber Rose? Didn't she have like a slut shame walk or something?
Yeah, that's what I used to call my car.
Slut shame?
No, I used to call my car Amber Rose because black guys would lose their mind when they saw it.
That's hilarious. She makes a cameo in that HBO doc, by the way.
Does she?
Yeah. It's all Kanye controlled me, that's the spin on the Kardashian side is controlling.
Right.
And I'm just like, dude, you're fucking a doll, man. I don't know. I struggle with that stuff. Like the idea of someone controlling you. Dude, you're 30.
Yeah.
You got a YouTube question right now, which there's no way you're going to answer this. I have a Prenostradamus challenge. I like to get Preno's way too early predictions for the next 5 Super Bowls.
Wow.
5 Super Bowls.
How about this? Can I just give you teams that will win I'm not going to predict them in order. The next 5 Super Bowls. The Chiefs will win 2.
Whoa, you're going to give Mahomes 4.
Chiefs will win 2. The Niners will win 1. It's tough. It's tough to go like Bengals. Like I want to say Bengals win 1, but like it's tough, man. You're still the Bengals. But like Joe Burrow's so good, like it feels like they get 1. Trying to think of who I'm missing that I think could like really.
You want to hear me out?
Yeah.
I'm going to say Chiefs 1.
Chiefs 1.
Bengals 1.
Yeah.
Carolina. just going to go random. Let's say Bryce Young thing really works out. Carolina. Chargers.
Wow. I thought about the Chargers, but it's like, man.
Not with that head coach, though. We're saying 5 years. And Niners are an easy pick, but the Niners are also I don't know.
They're just hanging around too much for me to think that they don't get 1. I'm going Chiefs 2, Niners 1, Bengals 1. And the only one that I will predict
Giants. You're going to say Giants.
In year 5 of this.
I knew you'd say
in
Giants.
Dable we trust.
I
think the Steelers could get back in that mix pretty quickly, but like I just don't know, is Tomlin stick around? Is Pickett work out? I don't think the Ravens get in 5 years. It's tough to say the Jets because like it's a very short window. It's tough to say the Bills because it's like, have the Bills peaked? The Dolphins have a quarterback question mark. I mean, you look around the league, there's a lot of like quarterback question marks. And by the way, that would be why if like I say the Giants, it's like 5 years from now, it's like, okay, maybe they have a completely different quarterback, but I think the coach will be in the same place. You look at the Chargers, you don't have a quarterback problem, but you do have a coach problem. I'd rather take a quarterback problem right now than a coach problem, to be totally honest with you, because you can always change that up. The Niners have a big question mark. I think the Eagles, could get in the mix, but also like Dude, if the Eagles fall off quick, all of a sudden that money becomes very problematic. They're getting older. I mean, they're doing a good job, but like they're also the Eagles. I have no faith in anybody in that NFC North right now. I have no faith in the Vikings. I have no faith in the Bears or the Lions. I have no faith in the Packers.
I know they're gonna be like my sneaky team, and I've already said it. Dude, if Deshaun Watson is like 85 to 90% of what he was before, Browns are gonna be fucking good. I'm just saying.
It's such a tough division, though.
It is.
And I have no faith in the Browns like throwing together a Super Bowl run.
I'll say it right now. I'll say people are gonna think I'm crazy. I have a better faith in the Browns making a Super Bowl run than the Ravens the next 5 years.
Wow.
That's how much out I am on Lamar Jackson come playoff time.
I mean, but what about coach defense? Coach defense, quarterback.
Okay, Ravens defense, Ravens coach. Yeah, I mean, they take 2 or 3. I just want to believe in the Browns for some reason. I don't know why, because nobody's talking about them. I just want to believe in them.
Do you have any faith in the Rams having a bounce back in the next 5 years?
Yes.
Me too. If McVay sticks around.
100%. That's
do you have any faith in a Pete Carroll has another Super Bowl contender in him?
No.
I don't really either. I mean, I think they can continue to win games, but
I did like seeing him throwing though.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
Do you have any faith in a Cowboys team being a contender in the next 5 years?
No, not especially with
me either.
Mike McCarthy and Dak Prescott. Dude, have you heard all this Trey Lance?
The Pats? You have faith in a Belichick in 5 years doing another Super Bowl run, contender potential?
Yeah. Not right now. It's gonna be a few years. The Niners really whiffed on that Trey Lance thing, dude, I think.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you've seen everybody saying like the guys they could have drafted. It's crazy. But 5 years is so tough. Let me just put it this way. If you were looking 5 years earlier, think about the teams we're talking about. The Bengals had Andy Dalton. The Chiefs didn't have Patrick Mahomes. The Bills were the Bills.
Yeah, but I mean, you look at who's won Super Bowls in the last 5 seasons? Just the Chiefs,
Bucks,
the Bucks, the Rams, and the Pats.
Yeah.
Is that the last 5?
I think so.
Obviously, the Bucks is a situation where that's kind of like what we're talking about. It's like who does like when I say the Giants, right? Daniel Jones, hoping he works out, think he could work out, but I think they're building something there where it's like they're going to be making great moves, and then like is the Giants quarterback in 5 years fucking Justin Herbert? Because it just fucking doesn't whatever, and they move on, and then you look at that Rams to Matthew Stafford situation. Like I kind of feel like that's what's happening in New York now. Is Daniel Jones gonna have like the Eli Manning thing, or is Daniel Jones gonna be Jared Goff, where they're like, we're right there, dude, and you just can't get it done. And now we're just gonna go out and get this guy. We're gonna go out and get X, who we know is good and has been wallowing away on whatever team.
Lots of pressure on Goff this year. He's got a contract after next year is up, but like the Lions have basically said he's their guy. I mean, you talk about coach, defense, quarterback. Their defense was bad last year. You and I are not in on the coach. The quarterback, yeah, I don't know. I'm glad I made a $100 bet. Even if I lose, that'll be fun. Just purely for Lions Reddit. Give us a ring, 310-359-8365. That's a hotline. We're on social at The Dirty Sports.
I'm at Joe Prano on all social media. Thank you guys for coming out for all the shows that I've done on the road recently. Finally back home for a while now. JoePrano.com, or just go to the link tree in my Instagram bio. I've started to put up all my show links up there. We got Alaska coming. We got Vegas coming. We got New Orleans coming. We've probably got another East Coast trip mixed in. We've got a bunch of stuff in and around LA, doing the Improv, doing a bunch of stuff around here. So come out and see a show.
Word. Yeah, definitely come to New Orleans, guys.
It's going to be fantastic.
That link is going to be in the bio, a link to get tickets. So check out the description of this episode. So check it out. All right, that's our show. Thanks for sticking with us. We'll be back on Thursday. Have a great week. And as always, stay dirty.